Thank you for listening to Dolphin Tape 6, Dolphin Language. A basis for first contact. This tape is part of my field notes on research I am currently working on. It is read by Wolfgang Smith. Dolphin Language, a basis for first contact. Humanity's search for extraterrestrial intelligence has long assumed first contact would occur across the vacuum of space. Yet we share our planet with a species whose cognitive complexity, social structures, and communicative behaviors suggest we may have overlooked a more immediate opportunity. Dolphins possess large brains, self-awareness, cultural transmission, and a sophisticated acoustic communication system. This paper argues that deciphering and achieving two-way communication with dolphins represents both a scientific imperative and a philosophical dry run for first contact. The methods, ethics, and epistemological challenges of interspecies dialogue on Earth provide the template we would need when we one day meet non-human intelligence beyond it. Introduction: Redefining Alien Intelligence. The term first contact evokes starships and radio signals from Proxima Centauri. But the definition is functional, not spatial. First contact is the moment when two sentient species recognize each other as such and establish intentional, reciprocal communication. By that standard, humans have not yet achieved it. Dolphins are the strongest terrestrial candidates. With encephalization quotients second only to humans, spindle neurons associated with social cognition, and signature whistles that function like names, bottlenose dolphins' tertius truncatus display hallmarks of personhood. If we cannot talk to them, what confidence should we have in our ability to talk to an intelligence evolved under a completely different star? The structure of dolphin communication. Acoustic modalities. Dolphins communicate through three primary acoustic channels. Research by Dr. Denise Herzing and the Wild Dolphin Project has documented whistle repertoires that remain stable over decades. Calves develop their signature whistle in the first year, often modeling it after their mothers with a distinctive modification suggesting intentional identity construction. Syntax and semantics. The central debate is whether dolphin communication contains syntax, rule-based combination of units to create new meaning. Work by Louis Herman with captive dolphins demonstrated comprehension of artificial gestural and acoustic languages with basic grammar. Hoop ball fetch versus ball hoop fetch yielded different behaviors. In the wild, complex coordinated hunting strategies imply information transfer. Yet we lack a Rosetta Stone to map acoustic units to reference. Non-acoustic channels. Dolphins also use body postures, bubble emissions, pectoral fin touches, and synchronized movement. Any first contact protocol must be multimodal. Assuming language is purely sonic would be as parochial as assuming aliens communicate via radio. Why dolphins are the ideal first contact analog. Cognitive proximity and distance. Dolphins are close enough to us in neural complexity to make communication plausible, but distant enough in sensory world, environment, and evolutionary history to force us to confront genuine otherness. Their primary sense is echolocation. They see with sound and can perceive internal structures of objects. A dolphin's language is literally alien to a primate. Lack of shared artifacts. Unlike human alien scenarios, dolphins build no technology. This strips away the crutch of pointing to diagrams or shared physical objects. We must negotiate meaning through behavior and sound alone, the same constraint we'd face with a non-technological alien species, or one whose tech is incomprehensible. Ethical stakes. We cannot ethically dissect an alien to study its brain. Similarly, invasive neuroscience on dolphins is increasingly restricted. This forces development of non-invasive, cooperative research paradigms, the exact ethical framework needed for respectful first contact. A framework for dolphin first contact. Step 1. Corpus building. Deploy long-term acoustic arrays plus AI pattern recognition to catalog the full repertoire of a single social pod. The chat system by Georgia Tech uses underwater keyboards and machine learning to associate whistles with objects. Scaling this to wild populations is key. Step 2. Interactive playback. Move from passive recording to active dialogue. If a dolphin uses a signature whistle to call another, play that whistle back in a new context and observe response. Test for reference. Can we teach a novel sound object pair and see it propagate culturally? Step 3. Joint attention and theory of mind. True language requires knowing that the other knows. Experiments must test whether dolphins alter signals based on what they believe a human researcher does or doesn't know, a hallmark of pragmatic communication. Lessons for interstellar first contact. The Fermi paradox asks where the aliens are. The dolphin paradox asks why we haven't spoken to the minds already here. Solving the second is prerequisite to solving the first. Conclusion: contact starts at home. We frame the search for intelligence as outward, but the most profound act of listening may be downward, into the oceans that cover 71% of our own world. If we develop the patience, humility, and technical tools to understand dolphins, we will have written the field manual for meeting minds among the stars. Dolphin language is not a curiosity of marine biology. It is the dress rehearsal for humanity's oldest question: are we alone? The answer may be echoing back at us already, in clicks and whistles we have not yet learned to hear. The work done on dolphin communication since the 1960s gives us a sober baseline for first contact. Dolphins demonstrate that intelligence, social complexity, and learned signaling can exist without human-like language. They also show that building a two-way bridge requires more than recording and statistics. It needs shared context, embodied interaction, and a willingness to redefine what conversation means outside the human medium. The Order of the Dolphin was the nickname John Lilly gave to his group of scientists studying dolphin communication in the 1960s. The name comes from Lilly's belief that dolphins might be the key to understanding how we'd someday talk to extraterrestrial intelligence. What they said about dolphins' alien language as a model for alien contact. John Lilly, a neuroscientist and dolphin researcher, argued that if humans ever met aliens, the aliens would likely be non-human intelligences with completely different bodies, senses, and languages. So he set up the Communication Research Institute in the Virgin Islands to study dolphins as a practice run for first contact. His reasoning: dolphins have big brains, complex social structures, and vocal communication we don't understand. If we can't even talk to another intelligent species on Earth, how would we handle ETs? Cracking dolphin language would teach us how to approach alien communication. This idea was laid out in his 1961 book Man and Dolphin and 1967 The Mind of the Dolphin. The alien language angle. Lilly and his team, which included astronomers Frank Drake and Carl Sagan, called themselves the Order of the Dolphin partly as a joke, partly seriously. At the 1961 Green Bank Conference on Extraterrestrial Intelligence, dolphin communication was discussed alongside radio astronomy. Lilly thought dolphins might have a language as complex as human language, but based on sonar clicks and whistles. Think in ways totally foreign to humans, similar to how aliens might think. Be willing to communicate if we learn to speak dolphin. He even tried teaching dolphins English words and had humans live with them in flooded houses. The most famous experiment was with Margaret Hal-Lavatt and a dolphin named Peter. Where it went. The Order's work didn't crack dolphin language. We still don't know if dolphins have syntax or grammar like human language. And the alien language connection was mostly speculative. Lilly later moved into more psychedelic and consciousness research. SETI split off from dolphin work. But the Order of the Dolphin did help frame a big idea: interspecies communication on Earth is the training ground for interplanetary communication. Carl Sagan later said, "The dolphins are our best analogy to an alien intelligence. If we cannot communicate with them, we have little hope of communicating with extraterrestrials." Thank you for listening to Dolphin Tape 6 on dolphins and first contact. For further information, go to www.speakdolphin.com or contact me at speakdolphin@mac.com. Let's keep learning together. Jack Kaswitz.